All right, Ordination Part 2, getting ordained with Assemblies of God. I am in Bismarck, North Dakota. It's about 4.5 hours from where we live. And I'm here for interview part of this ordination process. And our time slot, we get, it seems like there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 groups there that are getting either certified, licensed, or ordained. And they each get an hour. And the first half hour is like a meet and greet. And the second half hour is the actual individual interviews there. So that I have to check in at 12:45, and it starts at 1 o'clock for me. It's 11 o'clock right now. I'm not going to bring this camera in. I'll probably just record some stuff, maybe of the meet and greet on my phone. So the quality ain't going to be that good, but I'll try to record as much as I can. I'm not going to try to record anything from the actual individual interviews because that would not be appropriate. But I'll come back afterwards and share some of the questions that were asked of me, and then my wife is getting interviewed as well. They requested that she be there too, which makes sense. I mean, being a ministry team, she is not licensed, certified, or anything like that. She's not seeking ordination, but they still asked her to be there. So that's what is going on right now. So here we go. Also, another thing, they talked about being dressed in business casual, which is fine. Completely cool to dress whatever way they want me to, but what is business casual exactly? Is it button up in jeans, button up in khakis, nicer shoes? I'm doing a button up. I got some jeans on, and then my nice church shoes. Hopefully this is okay. I don't know. Maybe I should have brought khakis. I've preached in this before though, so it should be okay. Or, I just button up this button here, and then I preached in this. So hopefully that will be okay. But I wish sometimes, even if you look it up online, there's different opinions on what business casual is. And I wish sometimes for those things that they would put a description, what is business casual afterwards, so that we would know. But yeah, anyways, it's just another little detail I thought you might be curious about, interested in. Okay. So this is the location of our meeting. Evangel's the biggest AG church, or most attended, I guess, in attendance AG church in our district. We're gonna get some coffee because we're like 20 minutes early. Okay, it's the next day now since the last part of this video that you saw. I knew that I wouldn't really be able to take any video of the actual proceedings there. Just wouldn't have been appropriate, but I got home last night. We were 4.5 hours away from where the meeting was at. I got home last night around 10:30. And I tried to film one of these things, and then looking back at that, I was like, that's not that organized. That's kind of incoherent. So I'm doing it the next morning here, just so it's still fresh in my mind. I want to start out by saying too that I almost feel like as I'm doing this, it's like I kind of feel like, I'm trying to expose this whole process, and that's not the case here. I just wanted to share with you guys what it's like to seek ordination through the Assemblies of God, or at least through the North Dakota district in 2022, after being licensed for so many years, and so is that narrow enough to where not too many people experience that? Narrow enough a lens there, but so that's, I just wanted to share that with you guys, just to make that clear. I'm not trying to expose anything or anything like that, but I just moved the camera. Sorry. Okay. So we get there. You saw that in the video there. We get to the building, and then what happens? This is the first year they're doing it in this format, I was told, but they had an hour segment, and the first half hour, that was for like a meet and greet. So I didn't understand this going into it, but what happens is we have our executive presbytery. They were in the meet and greet part, so they weren't part of the interview committees themselves because they wanted to be able to meet every candidate. And in the past, they would only be able to meet a third of the candidates because there were 3 interview teams, and they'd be on those 3 interview teams. So they wouldn't be able to meet everybody. So they set it up this way instead. And so they had some other people doing the interviewing. Still had 3 committees there. And so you would meet the executive presbytery for the first half hour. There were snacks and stuff. And then after that first half hour, you would go into your actual individual interview there. and it was pretty good. So the meet and greet, that was with the candidates in your time slot, and then you had the individual interview there. Then going into the interview, it was I enjoyed it. I wish it were longer. They have a day. Those interviewers and then the presbytery there, they have a day, because especially this year, there's like 30 people seeking certification, licensing, or ordination in the Assemblies of God. So they had a bunch of people to try to get through. But that also meant that, okay, you only have a certain amount of time with each candidate then. And so I kind of wish it were longer. I really enjoyed the conversation that we were having in there during the interview. And I think the only way you can do that is if you're going to have more than just 3 interviewing committees there. But that can be hard to do because you're already trying to work around so many different people's schedules there. Each committee had like 3 people on it, so that's 9 plus the presbytery, which is another like 4 or 5. And then you had your welcomers there. They had some welcomers just to make everybody feel comfortable there. So you had all that, and you're trying to schedule it all together on the same day. Can be tough. So if you add more people into that mix there, it can be even harder to find a date to work. But it was a good conversation. They brought up just making sure that we find people to be accountable with, people that, if we make a mistake, we can get called out on it. Be like, hey, you need to fix this or do this, or just to check in on you too, and like do it, just an accountability partner, just in ministry, that you're scheduling like every other week or every week calls with, just to check in and stuff like that. So they encouraged us to do that. We talked a little bit about going through COVID and just some of the things that were dealt with there. And we were at one interesting question that was asked, because my wife went into the interview as well, was asked to brag on each other in ministry. So that was interesting, but I think that was good too, just to share that, because sometimes we don't do that, yeah, and we should. But and yeah, I think those are the main parts of my interview there. And so what happens, I don't know whether they are going to have me be ordained or not. So you had the interview committee, and then you had the executive presbytery that the interview committee sends a recommendation to. They have to finalize it for our district, but then they have to send it to the national office. So there's still 2 more parties that need to go through it. And I'm not part of that process. I'm only part of this interview process here. So the next 2 steps, they just go through with it. And I'm not sure when I'll find out if I'm going to be ordained or not. But, going into this, the other question, thinking about this now, the other question is, why are you getting ordained? What is the purpose of getting ordained to? And that was a good discussion there. But anyways, going back to it. So I don't know, I was planning on doing 3 parts here, but if they don't recommend me to be ordained, then there won't be a part 3. And so the ceremony, would be the 3rd part of this video, that is in May, the 1st or 2nd week of May there. So if you don't see a video after that time, then I didn't get ordained, which, hey, I'm trusting in the Lord and that they are listening to the Lord's voice. And so if they don't feel that I should be ordained, then, I'm going to trust in the Lord and move on from there. Or if they feel I should be ordained, then make sure to record some of the video there just so you can see the ceremony. It's interesting, for certified and licensed, it seems like, if you can't make it to that ceremony, then it's all right. But for ordination, they want you there. It seems like it's a requirement that you have to be there to be ordained, because they do a laying on of hands there, and it's ordination. Ordination's a big thing. So, but yeah, well, I think so. This is part 2. Was the interview part, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I wish it were a little bit longer, but 8 hours. They were going through 8 hours of interviews. I can feel for those people doing the interviewing and just doing the talking that whole time. It's a long time. So they did well. They were well organized and everything. So it was good. A good little system there. They should keep going. Maybe include a couple extra interview committees there, so they have more time with each one. But that'd be my only recommendation. But hey, who am I to recommend those things anyways? But yeah. Okay. Well, this is a video. Hopefully, well, we'll see if we have a part 3. So I'll be looking for that around then. And then you'll know. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. And hey, if you have not if you have not opened your Bible today, dived into the Word of God today, go ahead and do that. Find some time here, read a chapter, and invest in that relationship with God. If you haven't prayed today, do the same thing. Invest in that relationship with God. And you know what? You don't have to worship just on Sundays or when you go to church. You can worship at your place too, because God is deserving of that worship. But anyways, I'm getting preachy, so I'm going to end the video here. But if you haven't done those things, go ahead and do those things. But have a blessed day, and we will see you in the next video.